Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, say that again.
Can you hear me?
Sorry, one more time.
Can you hear me? Hello?
There we go. Got it. There we go.
Hey, how you doing? Good to see you.
Pretty good.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So do we have to talk about this hadith or can we just talk about anything?
We have to talk about this hadith.
Okay, can you pull it up one more time just so I can see it?
Yes.
Yeah, so the first thing I want to say is we can't just take hadiths out of context and just apply meaning to them. You'll actually be extremely criticized and punished if you do this in Islamic countries.
Hmm.
It'd be similar to if a person tried to do brain surgery on someone without experience. You
Hmm.
kind of have to have experience and knowledge in these things before just applying a meaning,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. So
Sure.
I'm not going to try and apply any meaning to it. I'm just going to ask you about one thing in that hadith, if you could pull it back up.
Yeah.
This is just an honest question. It says that the prophet whose people have beaten and wounded him, to my understanding, it wasn't Jesus's people who crucified him. It was the Romans.
Yeah, but his own people did beat him and wound him. Before he got handed over to the Romans, he was in the court of the chief priests and the Pharisees, and they punched on him, spit on him, slapped him, plucked out his beard, and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So, but the same thing happened to the prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
This isn't talking about Muhammad, though. He's talking about somebody else.
Well, again, we don't know that for sure.
We
But
do
even if,
know that because he says he's speaking about one of the prophets. Muhammad, it says, look,
but
the
isn't he one of the
prophet,
prophets?
yep, the prophet, while he was speaking about one of the prophets whose people had beaten them and wounded them. So he's talking about somebody else, bro.
Yeah. So this is what I was saying. We can't just apply an understanding to it
Can we at least
without.
use comprehension, bro?
Yeah, but it's sort of like I don't know the context of this hadith. I don't know anything about this hadith. You just kind
I
of took it
do.
out of the blue.
I could tell you the context of it.
All right. Can you tell me the context?
Yeah. So if you look to the left of the hadith, here's the context of it. It says two others were criminals, were led away to be
That's
put
the
to death with
Bible.
him. I know I'm giving you the context of the hadith. And when they came to the place that is called the skull, they were crucified. They crucified him and the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. And Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they cast lots to divide his garments. That's the context of this hadith.
Okay, so just to understand what you're saying, when it's saying his people have beaten and wounded him, this is not referring to the crucifixion.
This is referring to specifically his people beating him. Yeah, yeah. So it's referring to his own people that beat and wounded him. Absolutely.
But it's not talking about him being crucified.
Well, specifically, when it says was beaten by his own people and wounded him, that refers
Yeah.
to obviously the
So
Jews. When it
so
comes to the statement of the Lord here, "O Lord, forgive my people as they do not know," that's referring to what he said on the cross.
yeah, so is there really a problem? As a Muslim, I don't have a problem saying that people might have beaten and wounded Jesus, but it's a different story if it's talking about crucifixion, if
Well, the
that makes
problem
sense.
is that you don't have anything to suggest that this wording, "O Lord, forgive my people as they do not know," is separate from the crucifixion. Everything that we have, the only thing that we have in regards to these words is in line with Jesus and him on the cross.
Yeah, but you were just saying that this beating is not talking about the crucifixion.
No, what I said was is when it refers to his own people beat him, that's referring to the Jews punching on him and beating him and wounding him.
Yeah.
When it refers to these words that he says, it's referring to what he said on the cross.
Well, yeah, I could be referring to that verse, but this doesn't mean that he was crucified. Is all that I'm saying.
But so okay. So if it doesn't mean that he was crucified, do you have anything else where this is being applied to maybe a prophet or somebody who actually said this and it has nothing to do with the crucifixion? Do you have something of substance you can give me to get to suggest otherwise?
Well, I'm not suggesting that it isn't Jesus necessarily.
Okay.
I'm saying it could be Jesus, but it isn't saying that he was crucified.
Okay. So, in regards to Jesus saying these words, what was the situation in which he said these words? Do you have something to suggest
Yeah,
that he said these words outside of the crucifixion?
let me see if I can find it real quick.
Okay. Oh wow, 100. It's an interesting sort of dilemma there.
Just give me 1 second. I don't remember the exact.
That's all right. What are you looking for exactly?
I'm looking for the verse because I know there's plenty of times where Jesus asked God to forgive his people.
Oh, okay.
So so you have a point in saying that this specific wording is only when he's like on the cross.
Yep.
I'm not going to deny that, but uh, is
I
it?
like you.
You also said like it doesn't have to be exact word for word. Like it can also paraphrase.
It is a
So,
paraphrase of what he said
so
on the cross.
yeah. So is it not possible that he could have said this? Because I mean, he always talks about forgiveness with his people.
Nope. He doesn't. He never talks about, he never says this. He never says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do in any other situation than on the cross. This is the only time, bro.
But I'm saying, could he not be paraphrasing an instance in which Jesus is asking for the forgiveness of his people?
The only time that you're not hearing me, the only time Jesus asks for the forgiveness of his people is when he's on the cross. That's the only
Really?
time. Yes, sir.
That's the only time?
The only time.
Wow, that's shocking because I thought he did it many times.
There were times where he himself forgave people of their sin. He said, son or daughter, your sin is forgiven. Go and sin no more. He'll say that. But in regards to praying to the Father to forgive them, he only does this on the cross.
Okay. Um, is it all right if I just say like I don't know about this one, and is it okay if we talk about something else? If I because I had a question for you, if that's all
Okay.
right.
So, okay,
I'll
let's.
be honest though, this is a good hadith that I'm glad you brought up. I've honestly never seen it before.
Mhm.
Um, I'm gonna do research about it.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
that's okay,
We,
just
we,
as a
we
good.
can move on if you answer me this, and we can move on because you have been honest with this. I appreciate it. You've been dealing with this with integrity. So I do appreciate that. So, yes, you can definitely ask me what you want. What what are the implications? What do you think the implications are if this hadith really is truly referencing? I mean, if all the evidence points to it that this is Jesus and it's about his crucifixion, what are the implications?
What are the implications?
Yeah, like what would this mean for like Islam, its truthfulness? What you know?
Well, you see, that's kind of the whole point that I was talking about. Was like I honestly am not like an expert in hadiths,
Yeah,
so I don't know the context. I don't know like what was going on exactly. I don't know the Arabic. That's kind of why we have scholars, is to take these verses and synthesize them. And the analogy I like to make is like it's sort of like a brain surgeon. You know, we as laymen can't just go do surgery a person who has a broken brain. We need to have a surgeon who's experienced in this, who's got like a degree in this to go do that sort of work, if that makes sense. We can
Yeah,
certainly ask that person questions about it, but it doesn't mean
yeah,
we should actually perform like an operation.
yeah. I'm not saying for you to give me an absolute answer right now. What I'm asking is, if you when you look into this, and let's say you're like, wow, out of all the evidence, because you're gonna see explanations and stuff, you're gonna get reasonings, whatever. But when you look at the evidence and you be objective without being biased, without you know grasping onto things that tickle your ear, but you follow the evidence where it leads. If it
Mhm.
comes out that this actually can be referring to none other than Jesus and him on the cross, that's where all the evidence points to. What would that mean for Islam?
What would that mean if the context was him like contradicting the Quran?
Yes.
Oh well, I mean, if that was the case, uh, which it definitely isn't, but if it was the case that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was contradicting the Quran, that would mean like Islam isn't true.
I see. All right.
Um,
I appreciate that answer. I appreciate that honesty.
yeah, like I believe like if there's a contradiction or something, uh, it would definitely not be true. But again, like this is just kind of a hadith taken out of the blue, out of the hundreds of thousands of hadiths, without. This is the first time I've ever seen it, so.
Mhm. Yeah, so I want to lay this firm, and then we can move on to what you want to ask me, okay? I just want to lay this down. The reason why I'm bringing this is because obviously it points to the crucifixion of Jesus, which according to Islam did not happen.
Well, I don't think
Um,
it's quite obvious because it's saying who.
what?
Well, the verse, the this quotation
Mhm.
seems to be talking about what he said on the cross, which that's
Yeah.
true. But the beaten and the like them him being beaten is not the crucifixion.
Do you but
So that's
that's
why I'm
okay.
wondering if this that's why I'm
I'm,
wondering if this quotation could be referring to something else.
I'm just a little lost here. You have Jesus who is beaten by his own people, and then he's handed over to be crucified, and then says these words. So I'm confused on how you can say that it's not obvious that it matches Jesus after what we know about
Oh, no,
Jesus.
it matches Jesus
Okay,
100%. I think this probably is talking about Jesus.
for sure.
But I don't think that it's meaning he was crucified.
Okay, I got you. So here's the point: is that because since we know that it's talking about Jesus, or can surmise that it's talking about Jesus, at least for now, just plainly looking at it, matches Jesus perfectly, matches his words that he says on the cross, pointing to Jesus's crucifixion. Obviously, this would mean that Islam is false for denying the crucifixion. It'll mean that
Well,
Islam is false for having an internal contradiction within Muhammad and his saying versus what the Quran is saying.
so obviously, if the Prophet ﷺ contradicted the Quran, then Islam wouldn't be true.
Mhm,
But the point that he's quoting like an exact verse from the
mhm,
Bible, I
mhm.
just don't see that for a few reasons. Number one, like that verse where he's on the cross is only an alleged verse. Like I don't have any reason to believe that that actually happened or that that's historical.
So
Secondly, he said
wait,
this.
wait,
He said
wait,
wait
pause
one
there.
second. Let me finish my
Okay,
point.
okay.
Secondly, he said this in the 7th century,
Mhm.
which means he could have been referring to like a completely different Bible. So
So
to kind of to try and to align this with the modern day Bible and the verse
mhm,
there,
yeah,
I think it's a bit of a stretch.
just to be clear, you're saying that it's a bit of a stretch to line what Muhammad says in the 7th century up with what we have in my current Bible today, when we have a almost verbatim quote from it and we're looking at it side by side. You're saying that that's a stretch?
Well, no, I'm not saying the quote is a stretch, but the fact that this was
Oh,
on the cross and that he was crucified right when he said this, he was talking
yeah.
to those people.
How is
That
that a stretch?
well, because there's no reason to believe that he was actually like on the cross when he said this.
What do you mean there's no reason to did you not uh, uh and when they came to the place that is called the skull, they were crucified. They crucified him.
Yeah, I
And
understand
the
this is in the
criminals were
Bible.
one on his right, one on his left, and this is what he said when he was crucified. What do you mean we have no reason to believe this? What is this?
Well, this is just a verse from the Bible.
So do we have reason to believe Jesus said this while he was on the cross?
No, not while he was on the cross.
Brother, do you know what it means to have no reason to believe something?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any other reason to believe that these words were not on the cross right now?
Do we have any other reason?
Yeah. Do we have a reason to believe that Jesus said this not on the cross?
Um, yeah.
Okay. What reason do we have? Because I need some evidence of that.
Are you essentially asking like what reason do we have to reject that he was crucified?
No. I'm asking what reason do you have to believe that Jesus said these words not on the cross when he was somewhere other than the crucifixion? And when I say
Well,
reason,
the
when
Prophet
you say
ﷺ
reason,
was probably referring to him saying it.
okay, you're
Wait,
not
can
you're
I
not
first
you're not
clarify?
hearing me.
Are you making the claim that the Prophet is contradicting the Quran?
Of course. Or
But
maybe
don't
that
you believe?
Jesus,
But don't you
maybe
believe
that
that
you
he
don't
wrote the
understand the Quran.
Quran?
No, I don't. I don't believe he wrote the Quran.
Oh, then where do you think it came from?
I think it's man-made. I think it's man-made, and
But
I
not by
believe
him.
not like with him. Yeah, of course he had dealings with it, and maybe others.
But why would I don't understand why he would why you think he would like go against his whole belief?
because he's not consistent.
Wait,
And
so you
and
think that the Prophet ﷺ believed that Jesus was crucified?
I don't know. I don't know. He's inconsistent. All I have here is a statement here referring back to Jesus' crucifixion. So
Well,
this
it's
that's
referring to
what I have.
something he said.
Yeah, and his crucifixion. So it's
Well,
referring to the
no, it's
crucifixion.
not referring
All
necessarily
right,
to his
all right.
crucifixion.
So let's do this again. When you say we have reason to believe something, that means that you have evidence of of the contrary, right? So you have evidence to believe that Jesus said these words apart from being on the cross. What evidence do you
Well,
have of
no,
that?
no, I just said that I don't see any reason to believe that he was on the cross when he said this.
Yeah, but meaning that you have reason to believe that he wasn't on the cross when he said this, right?
Not necessarily, but I can try and think of some reasons if
All
you
right,
want.
so brother, so basically you have no evidence to believe otherwise, is what I'm saying. The evidence that we have so far points to him being on the cross when he said this, right?
Not necessarily, no. Because the thing is, you're assuming that he believes
I
in
was,
this verse
I
that
was, I was gonna let you ask your question, but you're showing to be too dishonest. If you can't even be honest with this, man, you can't. You're not gonna be able to answer me a question. You got to be honest, man. You were being honest earlier, and right now it's like you're completely backtracking. Usually, I would have kicked somebody like that's doing this a long time ago, but I don't know, man. You know, you've grown on me, so you're getting more chances than others. Do you have any evidence of the contrary to what we're looking at? Do you have any evidence to suggest that Jesus said these words apart from the cross? Be honest, please. You don't hear me, Aaron?
oh, I thought you just kicked me.
No, you're
My
on
bad.
stage, bro.
I literally thought you kicked me.
I literally
Oh,
told you that
I'm so sorry.
you're getting more chances than others. I'm
When
giving you a chance to be honest.
when you when you closed the hadith, I thought you kicked me. My bad.
It's okay.
Sorry, you were saying, do we have
Do we have
evidence?
evidence to suggest that Jesus said these words apart from the cross?
I'm just trying to think of anything. Uh, I just so evidence for the case that he was not on the cross when he said this.
No. Yes. 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 Evidence for the case that he was not on the cross when he said these words. Yes.
I can't think of any positive evidence that proves he was not on the cross, except that like the Quran, maybe.
That's not evidence. That's just a claim. Okay.
Yes,
So,
but again, there's no evidence that he was on the cross either.
okay. Do we have evidence pointing to Jesus being on the cross when he said these words?
No, that's my whole point.
So what do we have here on the left?
A Bible verse
A Bible verse saying what?
that he was crucified, which is just a claim.
And when he was crucified, when he said what?
When he said those words,
So we have evidence that Jesus said these words on the crucifixion. That's the narrative we have so far. And we don't
okay,
have
so
any other narrative.
let me try to explain. If I write a verse that says Jesus was not on the cross and then he said, "Father, forgive them for they do not know," is that evidence that he was not on the cross when he said that?
Disanalogous. Let me tell you why. Because Muhammad is referring to an actual story, an actual event, and
That's
an
the problem. I
actual
don't think he
an
is.
actual really.
I don't think he's referring to this story that you think he's referring to.
But he's referring to a story, right?
He's referring to just a quote that Jesus said.
That Jesus said. Look at that. He's referring to a quote that Jesus said. So
At
there
least to
is
my understanding.
there,
Again, I
very
can't.
good. No, you're absolutely right. So there is a tradition of going around or something that's known. Jesus was in a particular situation where he said these words.
Yeah,
What
I
do
think
we have to demonstrate what situation this was in all of his story's corpus on the life of Jesus? Where do we see Jesus saying these words on everything that we have about Jesus? Where's the only place he says these words?
the only other place than the Prophet Muhammad or the Quran would be the Bible. And I don't think there's any other
The
external
Quran doesn't
sources.
even record these words.
Yeah, but
I'm
aren't you doing like an
asking
internal
in what
internal
we have
critique?
of Jesus, and what we have of Jesus in his recorded situation and words, in everything that we have, him saying these words. What is the only situation, based on the evidence that we have, where he says these words?
So all we have is alleged claims from the Bible that he was on the cross.
So, the all we have, the only place that records these words is the gospel that records him saying these words on the cross.
Are
We
you
have
saying
no evidence. There's nothing in all of the corpus on the life of Jesus and his situation where he says these words otherwise. Correct?
there's no other external source where he says these words not on the cross?
That's what I'm asking.
Correct.
So the only thing we have, all the evidence that we have points to him being on the
No,
cross
no, no. The
saying that.
Bible isn't evidence.
No,
The
it's
Bible's
not.
just making a claim.
It's not.
Is it not making a claim?
The Bible is history. It's on the
No, no,
historical
but
life
you're
of
not
Jesus.
understanding. I think there's a slight misunderstanding here.
Mhm.
You're saying that because the Bible made this claim, that that's now evidence.
I'm saying because the Quran references the Bible, that's the evidence. You understand?
That's the okay. So, so you're saying that because you think the Quran like affirms the Bible.
Not only does the Quran affirm the Bible, we have Muhammad pointing directly to it. He's quoting Luke 23.
No, that's the thing. I don't think he is.
So what else is he quoting? What else you got?
Wait, who said he's quoting anything? He's just saying that Jesus said this. It's probably revelation that he got.
So when you say that somebody said something, you're quoting them, whether it's a direct
Yeah,
quote
he's
or a
quoting
paraphrase.
Jesus, but that doesn't mean he's
Very
quoting the
good.
Bible.
Okay.
There's a
So
difference.
again, do you have anywhere else out other than the Bible that records these words of Jesus saying this?
No, other than the Bible, Quran, and Hadith, no, there's nothing of Jesus.
You don't even have it in the Quran. So you
Yeah.
only have it in the Bible. Isn't this amazing?
Wait, but I don't understand why that matters. Can you explain to me why I
Why
need to
it
have the
matters
next?
is because that counts as evidence, bro. The
No, it doesn't.
Bible, since it's referring to the Bible, and the Bible is the only sole historical reference where this can be found, demonstrates that he's quoting and referring to the Bible. And when we read the Bible and we see this event, we see it happens at the crucifixion. You have nothing else to go on other than the Bible. That's the point.
You just hold on. You just muted.
I didn't mute. I just
Oh,
stopped
now
talking.
I can hear you. Okay.
You have
So
nothing else other than the Bible.
again, I'm not trying to be dishonest here, but I seriously do not see what you're saying because first of all, I don't believe that the Bible is historical in this way. I don't believe that it's historical
What
in
language did
recording this
Jesus
event.
speak?
Aramaic.
How do you know that?
I don't know for sure.
No, you just said it. Where you get that from?
Uh, it's a good question. Maybe he didn't speak Aramaic. I would say probably scholars.
Yeah, but where do they get that from?
I don't know. You tell me.
The Bible. They get it from the New Testament, man. Isn't that something? That
Okay.
scholars are using the Bible for their historicity when it comes to Jesus, on historical facts about Jesus' life. They're going to the New Testament to get it, to get his language.
I'm not saying that you can't use the New Testament for historicity, but you can't only use it
You just said that the New Testament, the Bible, is not a historical book. That's you said you don't believe that.
as a complete whole.
No, you didn't
Not
say that.
well. I'm clarifying. As a complete whole, you can't say that everything in it is an
So
historical
either
account.
it is historical, it's a historical book that gives us the historical facts on the life of Jesus, or it's not. It
It
can't, it's
gives
not
us
either
some. Oh,
or.
it definitely gives us some.
What do you mean some?
Well, because certain verses are.
How do you know the Quran is I'm sorry, how do you know the New Testament is correct when it says that he spoke Aramaic and which everybody is getting that from? How do you know that it's correct when it says that?
So the whole point is that certain verses of the Bible, certain books of the Bible, are more reliable than others.
I'll ask again. How do you know that the Bible got it right that Jesus spoke Aramaic? Because it's the primary source. Other than that, you don't get it. You know, this is the primary source.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he
So,
didn't speak Aramaic.
so do you see how you're proving my point of the topic here? How Islam has no foundation.
No, I don't see it.
Yeah, you stand on nothing.
Can I try and ask? I'm trying to explain this to you in a better way. Um, if you're doing an internal critique of Islam, right? You're saying that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is contradicting the Quran because he's inconsistent. My point is that he, if you're going to do an internal critique, we believe that he's getting revelation that Jesus said this. This doesn't necessarily mean that he's quoting a Bible verse in the modern Bible that you have. Maybe the Bible back then that he was quoting didn't say he was crucified.
What makes you think that this is a revelation he's getting?
Well, we don't believe that the prophet says things of his own, only what
You sure?
well, yeah, I mean, if you're going to do an internal critique, that's what the Islamic position is.
So when Muhammad made something haram for himself that Allah made halal to please his wives, was that revelation?
He doesn't make things halal or haram just on his own opinion. It's only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So when he did that, was that revelation then?
When he did what?
When he made something halal for himself that Allah made haram. I'm sorry, when he
He,
made something haram for himself that Allah made halal. That
he
was
never did
revelation
that.
from Allah?
He never did that.
How long have you been a Muslim?
A year and a half.
A year and a half. Have you ever read the Quran, dude?
I've read the entire Quran.
You sure?
Yeah.
That's impossible.
No. I swear.
You've read the entire Quran?
Yeah, the English.
Look at this dude.
Also, when can I talk? When can I bring up my question?
You've been too dishonest with this one.
Prophet, why do you prohibit yourself?
You see how Muhammad made something he forbid for himself? He made it haram when Allah made it halal for him.
Okay.
So is that
So
revelation?
let me ask you a question.
I just want to know if that was revelation, bro.
Let me explain this. If it's halal to eat pizza, and I say I'm not going to eat pizza, that doesn't mean I'm making it haram.
You're absolutely right. There's a difference between abstaining from a food that's allowed for you versus making a food forbidden for you, haram for you. You're right.
Like, I'm
Those
not
are two
gonna eat
different
pizza.
things.
It's completely
Here,
different.
does it say that Muhammad abstained from something or does it say he made it forbidden, haram?
He prohibited something for
So he
himself.
made it haram, correct?
Yeah. Yeah,
Good.
haram in the sense that like he's
Well,
not
no,
gonna do it.
not haram in the sense of he made it haram. There's a difference again
Why do you think
between
that?
abstaining from something
Well,
and making something, declaring
does it
something
does
to
it
be
say
haram.
haram in the Arabic?
Yes, it says haram in the Arabic.
Okay. Can you show me that?
Yep. O Prophet, why do you to harimu prohibit? So he made it haram. What ahalal made halal for you?
Yeah, so I think it's the same thing as what I was saying with my analogy. Because he's saying he made it prohibited for himself.
I'm sorry, brother. There, you and I both agree. You're showing your dishonesty again. We both agree
Huh?
that there's a difference between making something haram and then abstaining from something, right? Those are two different things. We agree,
Like for example, if I make a
brother. Stick with
vow
the
that
pizza.
I'm
Stick
not going to
stick
do
with the
something.
pizza example. Just answer the question. Is there a difference between making something haram and abstaining from something? Is there a
Yeah, yeah,
difference?
yeah,
Okay. It says here that Muhammad made it haram, right?
yeah.
So he's not just abstaining from something,
Well, I
he
didn't say just
declared it
abstaining.
haram.
I'm saying I can make a vow that I'm not going to eat pizza again.
Take care. Too dishonest to stay on this live.